Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Welcome to another episode of Getting to Know. Today I'm going to be your host, Mohamed Izzeldin, and we're going to be interviewing my dad, the host himself, Hisham Izzeldin. Please sit back and enjoy the show. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Sheikh Mohamed Izzeldin, how are you?
Good, alhamdulillah. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, thank you.
I'm very excited to be interviewing the host himself on the Getting to Know show.
And me too.
Okay, first question, what is your full name and where did you grow up?
My name is Hisham Izzeldin and I grew up in Sudan, a good sized city called Madani.
What was your favorite thing to do as a kid?
Played soccer and some basketball.
Which sport do you think you're best at?
I'm not really good at any sport. I'm not best at anything, man. I'm telling you straight up. I would love to be good at MMA and fighting.
Dream job when you were a kid?
I used to say I want to be a millionaire. I used to think being a millionaire is a job, and people used to laugh when I say that.
What's your dream job now?
Be an executive head of a media company where I get to make my own movie projects.
That's interesting, very interesting. Where did you go to college?
UC Davis, degree in electrical engineering, and I also went to De Anza College. I got a degree in film production.
Tell us something about your family.
2 brothers and 2 sisters, including myself. I'm the eldest. I have a lot of aunts, a big family all over the world.
Do you have any kids, and how many kids do you have?
I have 3. I have Yassine, who's 23. I have Ibrahim, who's 19. And then I have Muhammad, who's 9. And I had Yusuf, who passed away when he was a baby.
Something the community might not know about you.
That I'm an introvert.
How would you describe yourself in one word?
Passionate.
What's your favorite hobby?
Filmmaking.
What's your favorite movie?
Probably Office Space, Meet the Parents, Omar al-Mukhtar, and I love Matrix. I have a lot of favorite movies.
If someone gave you the money to buy anything in the world, what would you buy?
I'll buy a house in Medina.
What's your favorite homemade dish?
My favorite homemade dish is food, which is fava beans.
If you could try any food in the world, what would it be?
The most expensive halal burger? I don't know.
Like those 24-karat gold sheets.
Not really,
on the
not that
buns.
crazy. I mean, just like a good grass-fed zabiha.
What's your favorite book?
My favorite book is the Quran. And if it's not the Quran, Imam al-Ghazali's book called The 40 Principles of Faith, As a Man Thinketh by James Allen, which I like the compound effect. These are my favorite books.
What do you wish you knew more about?
Probably Quran. I wish I understood every ayah, what it was meant.
What skill would you like to master?
Be a fast reader. That would be awesome.
If you could turn any activity into an Olympic sport, what activity you would have a chance in winning a medal in?
Being passionate. I get too excited.
One thing you cannot live without.
Quran.
Favorite thing to do on the weekend?
Watch the highlights, the NBA highlights.
What are your pet peeves?
I don't like giving anyone a ride. I don't like driving, that's why.
So your pet peeve is driving?
Yeah, driving.
Favorite social media?
I'm not into social media, but I'll probably say Instagram.
What do you do to relax?
True relaxation is through dhikr or reading Quran. Perceived relaxation is watching a really good movie.
What are the top 3 things on your bucket list?
Die as a Muslim, go to Jannah. Actually, number 1 is to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is the constant ones, but dunya related stuff is to make a movie about Prophet Muhammad, to make a series, a fictional series, to live in Medina.
If you could open up a business anywhere, where would you open it up?
I'll probably have an office in LA, one in New York, and one in Medina.
What superpower would you choose for yourself?
To go back in time and to be able to see things happen.
So going back into the past.
Yeah.
Who is your favorite superhero and why?
I like Batman, just because he's human and he's normal and chooses to stay up at night and help people.
If you could turn into any animal, what would it be?
I like horses just because they're honorable.
They're very fast.
And they serve their master, and I love that.
If you were an ice cream flavor, what would it be?
I would say sorbet lime.
For a second, I thought you were going to say the Luigi's ice cream cups that
yeah,
we had.
Luigi's is good, yeah.
Early bird or night owl?
Early bird.
Cats or dogs?
Dogs.
Coffee or tea?
Neither, but if I have to, tea.
Sunrise or sunset?
Sunrise.
What job would you be terrible at?
Speed reading.
What do you like best about your job?
Oh, which one?
Influencer.
It's inspiring people and getting them to actually move and do something and be better.
What's the biggest deal breaker for you in a partnership or in your job?
Somebody cheats or deceives or don't be honest. That removes the barakah from that the blessing is gone, and I hate that.
What makes a good question from an audience?
Question that I can answer? That's not my answer, by the way, but I love that answer.
Most common question you usually get?
People usually ask me personal stuff, like they'll be struggling with something and how to navigate. The answer is always the same. Ask Allah.
Yeah, they probably come to you because like you give all those khutbahs like everywhere. You're giving lots of information.
Maybe that's why.
The most unexpected question you got?
Are you a Muslim?
Favorite thing about Islam?
My favorite thing about Islam is the fact that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is there, and He's always there. And whenever you want Him, He's available.
Favorite surah?
I have a lot of favorite surahs. Probably right now is Surah Al-A'raf, which is surah number 7, which talks about the people who are in between. They're not all the way on the right side, they're not all the way on the wrong side. They're in between, they cannot make up their mind. They're not decisive. People who are distracted by shaitan. So that surah summarizes our situation today as an ummah. So I love it because it reminds me to not be from those people.
Favorite hadith?
I have 2 hadith that I love that I always make dua because of them. خيركم خيركم لأهلي وأنا خيركم لأهلي. Prophet ﷺ said, the best amongst you is the best to their family, and I'm the best to my family. So I love that hadith, and I always ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make me the best for my family, because people have different personalities to seem to be like great, but then at home they're terrible. So the best amongst us is the best at home, not outside. And then that second hadith that I love, لا يؤمن أحدكم حتى يكون هواه تبعا لما جئت به, which means he has not believed until his desire matches whatever I came with. So I always ask Allah to make my desire matches whatever Prophet Muhammad ﷺ came with, which is something that I also love, and I think it's amazing.
Favorite name of Allah? These
days is Al-Mudabbir, which means the one who plans and plots everything.
Favorite prayer of the day?
Fajr.
Dua or dhikr?
Dhikr.
Mecca or Medina?
Medina.
Ramadan or Hajj?
Hajj.
Muhammad Ali or Malcolm X?
Malcolm X.
Umar or Abu Bakr?
Abu Bakr.
If you could meet any famous scholar, who would it be?
There is a scholar in Yemen named Mohamed al-Makrami. Also, there is a scholar in Turkey. He's Saudi. His name is Ahmed al-Sayyid. There's a scholar that used to visit us here. His name is Dr. Mukhtar Maqrawi.
If you could choose one juz in the Quran to already know without having to memorize it, which juz would you choose?
I'd say Surah At-Tawbah. So the juz that has Surah At-Tawbah in, probably those ones.
Who are some of your greatest friends that are Muslims?
The people in my halaqah that I meet with every week. I have a few friends that I don't want to mention, but I have a couple of them. They know themselves. I love them a lot.
If you could have dinner with any one person, dead or living, who would it be?
Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, for sure. I would also love to have dinner with Malcolm X.
What about living?
Mohamed Izzeldin.
Who is your favorite prophet after Prophet Muhammad ﷺ?
I have a lot of favorite prophets. Obviously, Sayyidina Ibrahim has to be the second. That's just natural. And then Sayyidina Musa right after that, and then Sayyidina Isa. But I'm really curious to meet Sayyidina Yunus and just hear about the story about being in the whale, man. That's really interesting.
What are some personal rules you would never break?
To not care about people. You always have to be empathetic. You care about everyone. Allah
so opposite of arrogance.
Yeah, that's right.
If we ask the closest 5 people about you, what would they say your best trait is?
I actually asked Mama this morning that question, and she said being kind. And I asked Ibrahim, he said being generous. And I'm asking you, what do you think?
Probably fair.
Fair, okay. Nice.
If civilization were to end, you can write one small note to the next civilization. What would you write?
I would write, La ilaha illallah. There is no God, there is no deity worthy of worship except for Allah.
If you can do whatever you want and control everyone and everything for one day, what would you do?
I would make sure that everyone in the world is fed, is safe, they have their basic needs. They're not struggling. I'll definitely end the war, and all wars. There's a lot of wars going on that people don't know about. There's a lot of insecurity, there's a lot of people who are hungry. Right now, we're speaking, there's a kid somewhere who has not eaten for a day.
Not even like a day, like
maybe a
weeks or months even. What's on your smartphone home screen?
A picture of you. It was a sibha, a prayer beads, and then you made it.
Most embarrassing moment?
When I went to go to marry your mom, I took with me one of my best friends. His name is Usama Kashoma. He's like really wild. So he's the wrong person to take to introduce me to her family. He told everybody, started explaining how like we live in an apartment and it's dirty because of me. Your mom was like, Usama, what are you doing? You're not saying the right things. And then he said, no. He cleans the bathroom really well. It was just so awkward. It was just the worst thing ever.
That sounds like the wrong person.
Yeah, it was the wrong person to take with me.
What advice would you give yourself at the age of 15?
Be consistent. Pick one thing and stick with it.
If you had one day left to live, how would you spend it?
I would call everyone to ask them to forgive me.
What makes you happy?
Probably being home, just being among family.
What are you most afraid of?
If I ever have to face my enemy, I run away. Allah says whoever does that, they run away from heaven to hell.
What is your biggest regret in life?
I love everything that I've been through. It's great.
What is something that you're great at?
Inspiring people,
What is something you really want to know but you just can't figure out the answer to?
thermodynamics, or like electromagnetics.
What is something that you do 24/7?
I talk a lot,
What is something you love doing?
giving advice.
If you can say one thing to Palestine, what would it be?
I'd say that you are on the truth, stay firm, and Allah chose you to be representative of the Muslim Ummah, and it's an honor and a privilege. Keep going, and know that Allah promises you Jannah. The Prophet said in Hadith says, "Ala inna sal'at Allahi ghaliya, ala inna sal'at Allahi Jannah." It says, indeed the merchandise of Allah is expensive. Indeed the merchandise of Allah is al-Jannah. Jannah is not cheap, it's expensive, and it requires a lot of work. It requires sometimes giving your own life, but it's eternal on the other side. So just keep going.
How do you want to be remembered?
I want to be remembered as somebody who inspired people and made them change to the better. Reminded them of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Yeah.
Jazakallah khair, man. It was really great. Good job. Good questions. He's like, what is going on? He's like, no. He's like, we don't agree, man.